Hey, this is Fred Ottman, Tugboat Typhoon, the Shockmaster, the B-A-double-D, Big Steel Man. And the card is subject to change. Watch it.
Welcome back to the show!
Welcome back to the show!
And now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions of the World, the Wizard CZ, and never wrong, Nick Bull.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting edition of The Card Subject to Change podcast, the podcast by the fan, for the fan. Of course, we are powered by Low Pies Pizza and built by Durham Remodeling. So glad that you are here on the For Frequency's Sake podcasting network. We're back at it again here on another Sunday evening, 6:30. You know what time it is. Of course, it's time for us to talk wrestling. I am never wrong, Nick Bull. I am joined, of course, by my tag team partner, the other half of the For Frequency, or the other half of the For Frequency's Sake Tag Team Champions. He is the one. He is the only. He is the Wizard CZ. Wiz, man, how you doing, bud?
Man, I am doing great. It's been a pretty chill weekend here, so I'm happy for the chill. Watching some wrestling, doing some stuff around the house, and just excited for tonight and excited for Tuesday. We'll talk about Tuesday a little later. That's a story for another time. But we have a returning guest on the show today, Nick. He's someone who's been on the podcast. This will be his fourth appearance in some capacity between the pre-show podcast parties, the long-form Card Subject to Change, and the Kickout. I'm excited. Let's welcome back into the studio Mr. Damien Saint. Damien, how are you doing today, sir?
Good, guys. How about you?
Doing great. You've obviously you look a lot different than when we seen you last time. So when I was just in the green room with you before the show, I'm like, CZ, who is this guy? I don't recognize him, but you still look great. You just look a lot different.
Yeah, man. Nope, just needed to change. Wrestling's kind of slowing down just a little bit right now. So life's kind of taking over a little bit, and obviously we talked a little bit, like you said, in the green room before this, and yeah, some exciting things that are just going on in life, and honestly, like, never felt better. So here we are kicking it, and I'm glad to be back on the show with you two. So thank you for having me.
Excited to have you for sure. And, you know, you talk about wrestling slowing down. There's no slowdown for us here at Card Subject to Change, but we know as the holidays get closer and closer, promotions tend to take a little hiatus.
Yep.
But before we get to that hiatus, we got some big news to talk about with you, and I'm not gonna bury the lead. You are the new golden ticket briefcase holder in Central Empire Wrestling.
Yes,
And
sir.
I just want to talk right off the bat about that. Talk about what it means to you to hold that briefcase.
I think obviously, like, you guys know, like, kind of the story behind the character and like kind of behind what I got going on, and I think you understand that this is kind of a long time coming in some sort of ways. You know, I've been kind of all over the Midwest the first few years of my career and slowed down a little bit and had a little bit something to prove, I feel like, to everybody, showing them what I can still do and what I'm still capable of. And I think this just goes to show right here, we're cementing that. And we're moving into a whole new era in Central Empire. I think you're going to see that come the next show. Obviously, we don't really know what those next show dates are. I don't know if you guys do or not, but, you know, here we are. And when those happen and those come through, you're going to see some hard-hitting, just normal, you know, Central Empire wrestling, right? But, like, you got all tons of new faces that are going to be coming to the place. You're going to see just some different, you know, viewpoints on wrestling and different things that are going to just come about, man. And I think there's an exciting time coming in the future of CEW. So I think, truthfully, I'm excited, but I'm mostly excited about what we're about to do all together. And that's only being, you know, I hate to say like this, you know, this positive attitude that's coming from me as of late, but like, truthfully, there's just this turning point. These guys have really gotten behind the Saint character and behind me. And it's a blessing, man. Like, honestly, like a blessing. As weird as that's going to sound coming from my mouth, it's a blessing, man. You know, it's pretty cool. So I'm excited just for the future in its totality for everything that's going on around me. So
we're talking with Damien Saint here on the Card Subject to Change podcast. And let's get back to that golden ticket. Of course, you go through hell to get that golden ticket at Bridge City Slam 7 against the Death Dealer.
Yep.
Does that golden ticket almost feel like a title? Just because having it kind of puts you at the top of the pecking order.
Yep.
And having it pretty much assures you of, you know, you're selecting your path to the championship. You're not
100%.
having to, you know, it's you making a selection. So does having that briefcase almost feel like having a title, having some power?
I would say,
in your hand?
yeah, man, like 100%. But like, we got to look at the hell I went through even to just get to that point regardless. I mean, 2 wars with Jared Thumb and having tag team partner in Gangrel and Rory versus Jared and Rory that past year before that. And, you know, I just look at it as just another speed bump in the road to get there. But holding that briefcase, yes, it makes me feel as though it is a title in itself, right? It's like you said, I'm calling my own shot, you know, and I think that briefcase just signifies just that next person in line to really showcase, you know, hey, I'm here and I am CEW. And perhaps maybe it's Mr. Bridge City Slam moving forward at this point. I think that we put 3 years in a row, Damien in a spot to where we're like, hey, you need to go out there and you need to showcase what the heck's going on. Obviously, like Iowa Showcase match would show that. 2 grudge matches would show that. So I'm, you know, I have to be a little selfish and say, hey, I went out 3 years in a row, put a match of the night on, and here we are. I'm holding the golden ticket. I'm going to cement myself in CEW's history as just that, the golden ticket holder that's going to take the title. He's going to make a run. He's going to showcase what's going on. That's the complete and utter reason why we had the showcase match to begin with, to showcase 2 talented individuals that can go out and have some of the hardest hitting, smash mouth, nose to the grindstone type of match like we put on, you know. I mean, dude, cemented him through chairs. You know, I did that to Bo the previous month, and it's not going to change, you know, in any sort of way. I think that we see that moving forward. Damien's definitely on the extreme side if he needs to be. So, yeah, you know, it is feeling like I hold a title, but it's just how to get to that next title, get to that next step to show, hey, this guy's here to stay. He's here to be Smash Mouth. He's here to be extreme, you know, if he needs to be. So, 100%. It does feel like a title.
Now, without peeling the curtain back too much, obviously, people who watch this show know this is Shoot Podcast. I'm going to shout out our friend over on the Confusion Podcast, Mr. Rob Kammerer. He had the Death Dealer on a few weeks ago. Death Dealer talked about what was going through his head being inside that trash can before you jump down on him.
Yep.
Is there any trepidation going through your head when you have someone in a spot like that? What was that like, coming down and stomping on a trash can with another man inside of it?
I think it's just the sheer thought of the will of what to do to get to the next step. I mean, it's been my whole life, man, like trials and tribulations, how to get to the next step on the ladder, how to get better, how to improve. And it's one of those things of, if that is what is presenting itself to get to that next level, to get to that next stair step in my career. Oh, CZ's going.
He's a wizard.
Okay, cool. I know that happens from time to time with you. So.
He throws flash powder, and I seen it real quick and seen him just.
That's why they call him the wizard, baby. That's why they call him the wizard. Sorry, but yeah, just stepping it to the next level, man. I mean, it's like I've gone through my entire professional, you know, career outside my shoot job, etc. Right? We all talk about that. I mean, it's not my only job to be a wrestler. There's just no way it can happen right now. But you know, if it were, I'd make it happen. But obviously at the shoots, I've had to make my way up and prove myself every day, every single day, every single second. That's what you have to do. And I think that in that moment in time, the Death Dealer had my number. And I think we know this. Obviously, I think he, 2-0 against me in CEW one-on-one, has beaten me at Madhouse, has beaten me at Impact Pro. So An absolute, actually. So there's 5 different times this guy's had my number. I've never beaten the Death Dealer. So seeing the trash can, giving him 2 Shibata-style drop kicks in that corner. Every single match I have one because it's one of my favorite moves. One of my favorite moves to put someone away with. And just seeing him in that corner, I'm like, there's just no way. This guy's going to come back to life. He's going to deal death. And it's just going to be every single scenario that we've ever run into 5 different times. I'm going to lose this match if I don't take advantage of this opportunity. So I grab the trash can, put it over his head. I get to the top, slipped up a little bit, but you know what? Something happens when you're going through, hell in a match like that, Getting up to that top rope was difficult, but that wasn't going to stop me from stomping him with the trash can over his head. It just, I'd do it to anybody. I hate to say it, but I'd have to do it to anyone just to get to where I want to be in my career and cementing myself as a legend in this state, in this region, So I didn't think twice about it, if that answers your question. Didn't think twice about it.
And that had to be quite a feeling, getting out from behind that 8 ball that you were behind, having the Death Dealer have so many wins over you, getting that win against him.
Yeah, you always want to hit the 8 ball into the pocket when you break, but it takes time and it takes some strategy to get there. You can't just break and it just goes in every time. It just doesn't happen, right? So I think that shows you the strategy game that we had to play to get. If I'm going to run the table, in pool, for instance, if I'm going to run the table, I need to figure out ways to get there, the angles I need to hit, how hard I need to hit the ball in certain points to get to the ball to the next ball that I need to hit, going from point A to point B, right? And that's just the Death Dealer in a nutshell for me as far as trying to put together a strategy. I have to make sure that I'm lining up each shot to get there. Trash can just happened to be there, and that's me lining up my shot. Had to put a metaphor on the 8 ball reference that you made. So there
I love it.
Damien, I want to ask you, because we've talked to you several times on the show. You've always been great with us.
Yep.
But you've got a new confidence. Is it the golden ticket or stuff going well in your life that it's carrying over now, and you've just got this unbridled confidence like before? It's not like you're ever down in the dumps when we talk to you, but I just noticed that you're just a little different. You're a little more confident now. So is it that, or is it just everything that's gone on and it's just waiting for the next chapter to happen?
Truthfully, man, full transparency, we're going to give it to you. Everything is just going well right now.
Good, dude,
everything in life in general is just tying together. The ball is, it's the flower is budding. Let's just say that everything in life just seems to be going the way it needs to be for me in order to stay at a really good state of mind. Because obviously, you guys know, I've told you the stories of going back in the past, and I've just stopped looking at it as living in the past, man. I gotta live in the present, in the moment, and have, you don't need to necessarily have a huge plan of the future, but in the immediate future, I would say, yeah, you need to know what's going on and what you need to do in life, right? And I think that I have a really solid foundation going for myself, a great job, great friends within the wrestling community, great friends outside of the wrestling community, like we talked about in the green room. There's some cool things happening there, and it's just happiness, man. I just want to spread happiness too, as weird as that sounds, but because I've been this bad guy, right? But I think people are starting to see hey, this guy's really got something going for himself, and he's really working hard to get there. And hard work pays off, man. Dad's always told me that from day one since I was a little tight. Hard work freaking pays off. And here we are.
You've heard that how many times? You've heard that how many times in your life, and now it's
going to fruition, man. That's literally why. 100%. I would agree. And it's just, I don't know. I am blessed in this moment. A lot of things, you guys know I like to listen to Slipknot, heavy metal music, but I find myself teetering more towards country as of late, as weird as that also sounds, but it's just, getting that positive energy, getting the positive vibes going, going into 2026 with the golden ticket. It's just time to be, within me and feeling good about myself, so that when I go into this next match, whoever it is, whoever I fight, it's, it's time to just put the nose to the grindstone, knock down, drag out, Damien style. And that's what we're going to do.
I'm glad you said whoever you fight, because I want to talk about the title picture in Central Empire for a little bit, because we've talked about last time you were on the show for a full interview, your history with Jared Thumb.
Yep.
Jared Thumb was champion going into Central Empire, and now coming out of it, we see Rory Fox regaining the title. Is there a little disappointment on your end that it's not Jared that has the belt that you could take off of him?
I think, of course, like not having Jared be champion and seeing him lose, unfortunately, at the hands of somebody that wanted to chuck me out of the ring, and think he can just take that moment. Maybe I should have just knocked Rory out before. And that was probably the biggest mistake I made. I should have knocked Rory out before taking Jared out, been done with it. If Frankie came in, I'd figure it out. But we talked about immediate plans and the immediate future. Didn't think that over, of course. Does it change, like, my thought process of who I'm facing come, in January, February, wherever we're back at? I don't think so. I think whoever has that title has a target on their back. And coming back to like what, Nick said was like, does it feel like a title? It does. I feel like I also have a target on my back. Not only at the simple fact that I'm the one that kind of holds destiny for the future of CEW with this briefcase, but truthfully, we haven't seen anyone like Storm Thomas in a long time. I truthfully want to call this out, and I want you to hear it now, and I want you to see this. Okay? Storm Thomas may not be the Storm that we get any longer, but the Storm that's coming that you see from Damien, that is coming. And I think I can get to that caliber of superstar that Storm Thomas was. Not think it, I actually know it, just because fans, they used to boo me, man. But then at the end of the day, they're cheering me. Like, they're literally rooting for Damien to win. How do you actually make that happen without making that happen? You know what I mean? Like, you have to make that happen yourself. But like, it just happened organically, those things happened organically. It can be the cool entrance. It could be the cool gear. It can be the fact that I'm chasing Jared, the champion. But I think it's just all together. Damien is such an organic and very beautiful character that people can relate to, in any way, shape, or form. You can be a Christian boy that goes to church school every single week. You can be a mill worker that doesn't believe in God, but you see Damien and you can relate to him. And I think that's amazing to see, truth be told, I just want people to understand that, going into this, it doesn't matter who the opponent is. It doesn't matter what obstacle is in my way. It will not stop me from getting the CEW title. However, we all know the history is there with Jared, okay? And I'm just going to shout it out, because I would say, yeah, there was still a little bit of disappointment there. I just wanted to prove the point that it doesn't matter who it is. I'm still going there.
Right.
But, like, there's still a little disappointment it wasn't Jared, because he does also have my number. And I haven't beaten Jared one-on-one in my career. Gimmick match, regular match, etc. And as crazy as it is for me to say this, and hopefully management sees this, I don't know. But when I win the title, when it happens, I actually want Jared to be first in line, for the simple fact that he does have my number. But I want to prove to people that I don't need all the extra added stuff that we've had in our matches prior. Like, I don't need a chair. I don't need a table. I can beat you outright, and I'll do it with the championship. I can't get over the fact that he's beaten me twice, and it's in matches that are my domain. You know what I mean? Like, those are my domain, man. Like, you came into my house and you started barking, bro, and it's just time for the barking to stop about Jared and Damien. Let's put it to rest. Number 3 needs to happen, and when number 3 happens, it's going to be the most fantastic thing people will see. And I don't even think it needs a title at that point. I think you have money in that match, regardless if there's a title involved or not. But I will say, if I have the title and Jared is there, I would like him to be first in line for a title shot. And just think about it. I came in and I kind of screwed him over. It wasn't necessarily to screw him over. I just wanted to beat him, like, in general for the title, because, I mean, he's, like I said, he's had my number and he's been all over. He's been getting all the attention. Clearing something up too. I don't hate him. I actually think I need him. I think I need Jared, though. I don't think that there is a Damien from the past few years that there's no Jared. Like, I think we both need each other to coexist. That whole Batman Joker thing, right? Like, I think that is there, and that holds water. We're always chasing each other. Formidable opponent. He's solid in the ring. He's one of the best to do it around the area. And I think I truly need Jared, and Jared truly needs Damien Saint. He needs me in order to survive in this game. So, yeah.
Damien, when you won the golden ticket, Jared was still champion.
Yep.
At the end of that night, Jared was no longer champion.
Yep.
Does that change when that ticket is going to get spent, or it doesn't matter who's at the top?
Does not matter. If that answers the question, it does not matter. It really does not matter. It could be Rory still. Storm Thomas can make a miraculous comeback. Who knows? We're not going to talk about it, but, you know, it could happen, right? He could come back and win the title somehow. Does not matter who it is. It can be, you know, Rory, Storm, Jared. It could be Austin Bayless for all we know. Like, somehow miraculously, the manager of this whole entire thing, the breadwinner, the one that runs it all, the one that's been wrestling, which I've been paying attention to and studying hardcore, he could win it, you know? What's to say I wouldn't cash in on him, you know? But to answer the question just straight up, it does not matter. It will not matter. When it happens, it will happen.
When it does happen, you've laid claim to the nickname of Mr. Bridge City.
Yep.
Can you be considered up there with the greats of CEW? Does this complete the metamorphosis, and now you're not worried about being named after a show? You want to be considered one of the greats in the company.
I do, like, look at that name and hear that name, and I see a piece of our puzzle missing. And I think you all know, without subliminally saying it out loud, like, that piece is missing right now. And to their own, like, they have to take care of what they have to take care of. Someone's got to take the mantle, right? You know? I truly think that there is no name that can cement me better than being Mr. Bridge City Slam. I think we take it a step further and say Mr. CEW in general. Like, I don't think it even needs to be just the title of our main flagship show. I think it's just the simple fact it is I tell everyone I'm the Emperor of Central Empire Wrestling. Like, I am this Emperor of Central Empire Wrestling. That is my domain. That's where I stand. So I think just saying it out right here, right in front of you two, for everyone to see that's watching, it's just Mr. Central Empire Wrestling at this point. But Mr. Bridge City Slam's cool too, right? I mean, like, all the flashy stuff's cool too, you know? But I think we're just missing that piece of the puzzle right now. So someone had to take that mantle for a little while. And I think you've seen that come with the last 3 years, that you could say that Mr. Bridge City Slam this past year was myself. I mean, with the matches that I put on the years prior and just holding the water that I had to with Mr. Dealer, you know, it held water this year. It held a lot of water, and people were talking about it. So, Mr. Bridge City Slam it is for now.
Now, we're talking about Central Empire Wrestling, and before we move on, you work in many different promotions right now. Before we go there, just want to take a second to remind everybody that we are the Card Subject to Change podcast, the podcast by the fan, for the fan, powered by Lopez Pizza and built by Durham Remodeling. We're right here on the For Frequency's Sake podcast network. So thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. Damien, I want to touch on, we have a couple of new names that I haven't seen in the comments before. And Matthew Schrader asks, well, first of all, I'll bring up his comment first. Said you had a great match against an up-and-comer named Gavin Parker not too long ago.
Yep.
And he asks how often you, being a Midwesterner, travel up to Minnesota and Wisconsin to wrestle.
It has been a hot minute. I was a frequent flyer in the Fargo region for a while up there at Time Bomb Pros guys. Those guys are magnificent, great people. I actually miss them. They're very, very heavy metal up in Fargo, if you've never been told that before. But holy crap, there is a huge heavy metal scene up there, and I thrived. But it has been a hot minute since I've been up in like the Rochester, Minneapolis area. I think it's been about like 2 to 3 years. I really particularly stay in my area here in Illinois, like Peoria, Pekin, Canton area where I'm at, and really mainly the eastern side of Iowa. But there is nothing, literally nothing saying I wouldn't drive to go wrestle me and some people in some Florida or Miami area, or Miami, Minneapolis, Minnesota area. I would love to go to Miami. I definitely got the vibe going. But yeah, unfortunately, can't make it that far. But Minnesota, Minneapolis, I would love to get back up there. I went to First Wrestling with Manders up there a couple times, and that was a great time. So I'd love to get back to that area if it's ever possible. So.
And I'm sure they'd love to have you, knowing what a tremendous competitor, tremendous athlete you are. Haven't seen your matches for some time now. I want to talk a little bit. When you were on a year ago, you were at the start of a little bit of a break from wrestling.
Yep.
Had some life stuff going on, some changes in your personal life, and then you made a comeback. Was that break something? Do you think that was necessary to become who you are now?
Yeah, because it gave me a chance to reflect on a lot of decisions that were being made in life. I mean, like I had just moved here and taken over a grocery store that definitely needed dire straits to help them. And I'm glad that I've been able to kind of help them out and help them grow in my shoot job, right? But so that was kind of the mental hit that I was taking, was just a decision to move away from family, move away from friends, and move away from wrestling in a way, because now I'm 2.5 hours away from everybody at that point. Which 2.5 hours is not a shot in the dark for, a wrestler. They 2.5 hours is cheesecake for them. Like literally just cheesecake on a platter, dude. They'd eat it for days. But to a guy like me that works 50 to 60 hours, 70 hours, even a week sometimes, that's just hard to, manifest, right? So trying to process, do I take a year off? Do I take 6 months? Do I take 1 month? And I don't even really think I took that much time off, if I'm being honest. It was pretty much promotions hit me up in the area there right away, and saying, hey, we would love to have you if you want to jump in, and teaching people some new things in that certain promotion in certain areas. So I was like, you know what, like, teaching people and leading people is my wheelhouse. I think that, going somewhere to help out is a great thing. And that time off was just cut short, but I wouldn't change it, because there was this huge takeoff, for whatever reason that just shot me into the moon at this point, for the area and for myself, for my career so far. I say so far because I think we can go even beyond that, which is even crazier. But no, man, like that time off, there was just a lot to focus on at one time that I just really needed to take a deep breath really quick, as quick as I could, and then just be like, okay, cool. Like, I know who the hell I am. I got to go, family has something to do with that too. Like my family, I love them all to death if they're watching. But there's times where, you hear in your life, you got to chase your dreams. You got to chase your dreams. Sometimes it didn't feel that way. So I had to clear that air with them and just say, hey, listen, like, I love to do this shit. Excuse my language, but I love to do this shit, man. And I wanted them to realize how much I loved it. And, cementing that and having them realize and focus on that portion of it, that really helped my mental state and helped me get back on the plane, essentially, to start flying again, or on the ship, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I think that little bit of time off did help, just so I could speak those words into existence and realize who I really am. And this is it, man. Like you're looking at it like wrestling is my life now, next to the shoot. So that's what we got, man. And I'm rolling with it, and I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to quit. I'm not going to retire. I will die if I have to in the squared circle doing what I love to do. I think it was like Nitro Circus one time. They were like, if you don't die doing what you love to do, then did you really live? And it's like, holy crap. Like that is literally what I'm trying to live by as a wrestler, man. So if that answers your question, I think that we're in such a good spot. Looking back on that time off, it's just a blip, it's just a little tiny blip in the career that no one's ever going to remember anyway. They're going to remember what they're going to remember what I said to them. They're going to remember how I did things to them. They're going to remember how they felt when they saw me. That's the stuff that matters. They don't care about the time off. They care about me giving them that feeling that they just feel invigorated, and they saw just this beautiful painting that we, put on a piece of canvas for them, So I had to remember all that,
I love how you equated it to just taking a breath. That's so perfect. And after that breath, you came up, and just came back stronger than ever. Let's talk about IMF.
Yeah.
You were their champion when I saw you there a couple months ago.
Yep.
I believe you and Omen Black were both champions. Talk about how that kind of came about, because you guys had a blowout to decide who was the undisputed.
Yeah, so we just peeling back the curtain a little bit. We wanted to try something different. A lot of people had not seen this, and normally would say, "Oh, well, now there's a vacant championship because of Omen." But management decided, since Omen and myself in a triple threat match for the title, who somebody inserted themselves in that wasn't even involved in this whole storyline at that point in time, they inserted themselves. And we both hit each other in the head with a chair, and we both fell on him at the same time and pinned him at the same time with two referees, because one got knocked out and one came in. So one said that they were the ref, the other said that they were the ref, and they were just arguing and bickering after the match because they were like, well, who's really the champion? So Donnie, the manager, comes in with the mic, and he's like, hey, listen, you know what? We'll decide this later, but for now, you guys need to get out of here. We got another match. Whatever's going on, I don't even remember there was another match after that. I just got hit in the head with a chair. So I really don't remember. But that next, I think it was like a week after, like a couple days after, they announced, oh, hey, you know what? We're going to do something a little different and off the wall this time. Instead of vacating this championship, we're just going to make both of them champions. Why not? They both are deserving of it. They are both deserving of it. They both did this. It just happened simultaneously. And both refs were technically both still in the match because one was still knocked out but counting at the same time, etc. If you watch it back, he's pretty much knocked out, but he's still somehow counting. I don't know. I still argue that to this day because he's knocked out, and I have a regular referee that's conscious and can actually make a decision without feeling loopy. You know what I mean? And I still argue it. But it's something different. So we decided to have two champions at that point. Instead of someone stealing it, etc. There it is. Omen ended up walking out of that venue that night with both titles. So the next show we had the Rumble, or I believe it was the Rumble, and we ended up doing a spot where he's coming in, he's gonna forcefully take his own rightful place as a champion by winning the Rumble, and I ended up jumping in and taking him out essentially, and then stealing the title and running away with it. So I basically took my title that I feel like I deserve after winning it and becoming the secondary champion and running away with it, basically heisting it just like CM Punk. Obviously, you can see all the little, flares coming from me being a CM Punk mark by doing that. But I think it was a cool little thing that a lot of people will remember, and that's what I want to do. It may not make sense to the regular wrestling fan, but this is it's subjective. Like, you can do what you need to do in wrestling to make people want to see more and have their mouth watering. So is there an unwritten rule there? I don't know, but guess what? I don't really care because we made it happen and it was cool and it was different. And
Right.
People dug it. People came to see it. If you remember going to Double Z's and seeing that crowd, like that promotion in particular they're not even a regular indie promotion. They're somebody that are up and comers that we created. Like, me coming in helped create, There's 100+ fans now a show. They had zero before they started doing live shows. They have a huge following on YouTube, in the underground scene, etc. So I think that it's cool that we were able to create something so cool and have people watering at the mouth about. I mean, we had fans going, "How the hell did that happen? Why didn't you knock him out to take the title from? Like, what are you doing? Like, what the heck? And it's so cool to see. You're creating something right before your eyes, basically. It's absolutely insane where we've been able to take it. Yeah, that match in particular, though, I'm not super happy about. I mean, respect to Omen, but I truly think that I was the true champion. He said that he was the real champion, but I feel like I was the true champion. So we're gonna leave it at that.
And speaking of IMF Wrestling, they're watching right now. They're in the comments, and they are making a big announcement here. Damien Saint is going to be in the Shot of Glory ladder match on October 18th at
Yes, sir.
Hell in Palo. That's fantastic.
Yep. So not only one briefcase, but I'm gonna win 2. So I'm gonna have 2 briefcases. You asked if it feels like having a title.
Well,
I think I'm gonna carry around.
We've seen belt collectors before, but we really haven't seen briefcase collectors.
Dude,
You might be onto something new. I mean, everybody, the Ultimo Dragon had 1 million belts, Kenny Omega, Mercedes Moné right now. You could just be carrying around briefcase. That could be the case.
yeah, cashing on anybody at any time at any promotion. Hear that, GCW? Hopefully you're listening. No, I'm just kidding. But
Oh no, that's good.
wouldn't that be something? Carry
That
2
would be
briefcases
fun.
into a GCW venue and just like run in on the champ, like, oh, what do you got? Like, no. But yeah, no. I when I saw that, because I did see that come through, and I think that it's because they obviously talked to me about some things, and they're like, what do you think? What do you think about doing this? And I'm like, absolutely. Like, I think it would be a dumb decision not to. And I still, the dog collar match ended the way it ended. My whole family was there watching that dog collar match between me and Omen. And, I think the way that ended and me not reigning supreme and taking the title and walking home, it just leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. And I know that the House of Wolves and him as the leader, and kind of a little bit of a teetering going on there, I believe. But that whole shindig that they got going on, I'm just not a fan of. And I know what it's like to be that type of leader and be the voice of reason within a promotion saying, this is all me. And, Gary doesn't know what he's doing. Soldier doesn't know what he's doing. We got all these guys, wanting to be the number one guy and etc. But like, lead by example, man. Why do you have to, take everything by the wayside and pull it in for yourself and have all the power, And I think that I'm able to put that to an end. So I want the Shot of Glory briefcase so I can win the title back from Omen himself. Here's the thing. You asked earlier if it was Jared or, that I wanted the briefcase for if he was CEW champion. In this particular case, if I win that briefcase, I want Omen Black back one-on-one. And I will tell him when it's happening. I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to be doing RVD style where I will tell him where it is. We're going to pick the gimmick match, and we're going to forcefully feed these people something that they've never seen before. But if it isn't Omen and it just so happens to be somebody else, then, it's a Shot of Glory briefcase. I can cash in at any time. So whoever it is, you better be ready for me to be on your front doorstep, man. I'm not even going to come in from the back. I'm going to come in from the front and show you my face and say, hey, this is my time. And I should have been champion. I am the true champion, and I still believe it. And winning that Shot of Glory briefcase is my next task. So we're going to take that as a head. So you're coming, 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
October 18th. Yeah, so
yeah.
2 weeks from today. Yesterday.
Or 2 weeks from yesterday. Yep, there we go. Yeah, I'm excited. Like I said, there's a lot of different things working in the mill right now, man, and it's really cool to see. So,
yeah, I want to go back to something you said about IMF. You said, you were kind of helping build where they are now. What does that feel like to know that your presence helped this company grow and become what they are slowly becoming?
It's funny because they'll sit there and we'll be in a circle talking amongst the couple that started doing this whole thing. And they're like, we did start this company, but you helped cement it and you helped put it in place and you are one of the pillars. And I kept denying. I'm just like, no, guys, like, dude, this is your creation. I'm just here to be a big part of it. That's really all I want to be. I just want to be that, like, when you're like the needle to the sewing kit. I want to be able to help sew it together, and get it tied together. You guys are the needle and the thread, and I am the needle. You guys are the thread. You guys are what are creating this. I'm just helping you get through the path that needs to get there, right? However, it was brought to my attention that, like, yeah, like, it is true. Like, Damien being there, on a month in, month out basis, week in, week out, whatever we decided to do. Like, I think that helps. And I think that goes to show like what fans want to see around the area. And, you know, I can't deny it at this point. And it's one of those things that I just really want to focus solely on really getting good, juicy, detailed stories in there, you know, and showing people it doesn't need to be about a core four that have been running the region for 5.5 years. Anybody can do this at this point, right? And, you know, yes, guilty as charged. There is some hiccups with being completely and utterly trained. But once again, we talk about a respect factor. You got Seth Rollins, Merrick Brave, CM Punk, however many others you want to name. Will Ospreay, I'm pretty sure. Backyard wrestlers when they first started. Look at where they got. They decided to go get trained and go for it. Now, I'm not saying that every single one of them is going to go train, but there are some things in the works that will help them get to where they want to be so that when things move forward and they progress, there are some of the best talent in that locker room in IMF that I've seen that aren't even completely and utterly like brass cylinder. You know what I mean? It's, you know, I want people to understand that I didn't do this out of spite. I didn't do this to create a problem. I did this because solely it's the fact that they love it so much and I love it so much that I just want to be able to share the wealth a little bit. Not my call to make, of course, but at the end of the day, I love doing this shit, and whoever wants to do it, I'm going to do it with. So brothers and sisters, if you want me back, then let's do it. But like, I am ready to take on anything and anybody that wants to put me in a position to help them succeed and help them thrive in a world of wrestling that we're wanting to live in. Because that's what we do, man. We love wrestling, dude, you know? And they love it just as much, if not more than I do. So I'm trying to help a brother out, basically, is what I'm trying to get at.
Absolutely. So, I love that. And
I love those guys. Sorry, not to interrupt you, but I love those guys. Like, I truly like brothers to me. Like, I may not answer back all the time. I may be busy a lot, but like, I love those guys. Like, those guys, they truthfully have taken care of me. They've been very respectful, very responsible when it comes to booking these things. Because you don't see me wrestling backyard wrestlers. You know, the only one that really I've wrestled is Omen, or Underground, as you want to call him. But I've given them enough respect to Omen to be like, hey, listen, like, you're there, bro. Like, you are there. You have it. Like, training is there. So take it and run with it. Like, go do it. Because I think that you would be a force to be reckoned with in this scene, and anyone and everybody would be looking at you and saying, holy shit, like, where'd this guy come from? Well, he was working IMF 5 years ago with Damien Saint and had 5,600 views on a YouTube page that probably no one, Jared, leave me alone, but that someone probably didn't know about. Jared's blowing on my phone. He's mad at me. He wants to shout at, you know, Damien's face. He's literally calling me out. He's saying, hey, like, I'm going to beat this guy up for saying what he said on the podcast. But yeah, man, like, it's just mad respect to them for actually putting the work in and really working with me and showing the respect factor back. You know, like, they know there is some, you know, level of creativity issue there just with the training purpose. But like, it's more or less, I'm just glad that they have the respect of asking and really wanting to soak in knowledge and learn these things. So that's why I keep helping them. You know, they're there for me, and I'm trying to be there for them as best as I can.
You know, and you talk about respect. You know, we have another comment coming in here. How, excuse me, Shane McMurrin says he was blessed to have a chance to share the ring with you. You know, and you're one of the greatest out there. And I agree. You're top notch here in the Midwest, and the sky's the limit. I can't wait to see what's next. I think I said that last time you were on too. I can't wait to see what is next.
Yeah. So transparency. That is Dylan here. That is Shane. That is Omen Black. Okay. Right there, that is respect. You know what I mean? Like, that comes from someone that is not only gifted himself, but like he's just a good, respectful person and responsible. He took care of me. And once again, we're peeling back the curtain a lot here, but I'm just going to be transparent because people need to know this. If I didn't feel safe with Shane in the ring, I would not have done it. Okay. So that we need to make that clear now. Because I know people are going to backlash on this, but like, truth be told, I would not have stepped foot in that circle or in that squared circle if I did not feel safe. And I felt safe. I felt comfortable. And I felt like I was just going at it with a guy from every weekend, you know, with another dude that we always go one-on-one with every single weekend. We throw bare fists and kick the shit out of each other, you know? And it just felt like another weekend, man. It just felt like another match, another weekend. And that's respect, you know? Because I could have said, oh, man, like, polish this up, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, dude, like, he actually did very well. And it was ballet, you know? It's ballet, man, at the end of the day. So.
And I love, we could talk about all of this for forever. I know we try and keep things under an hour. Got a couple things that I want to ask you before we completely wrap up here.
Yep.
We talk about, you know, Nick loves talking about what everybody is watching. Talked about it a year ago. It's been a full year. What's grabbing your attention in the world of wrestling right now?
Man, that's a tough question. I think everyone's watching John Cena, you know, at this point. But I'm really just digging the Iowa scene in general. Like, if I just had to put it to our level, I'm just digging the Iowa scene, man. Everyone's doing everything, you know. They're wanting to bring it. We just had Convergence, man. No one would have ever thought that we would have put a show together, not only to benefit one of our own, because obviously there was a tragedy, and we all love him very much. And, you know, like, just seeing that happen and, like, come together and come to fruition, it just goes to show how Iowa strong we are. It's Iowa strong, dude. Like, can't argue it. Like, that's just Iowan hospitality, you know, at its finest.
No, without a doubt. I agree. And I love everything about wrestling here in the Midwest. I was born in Iowa. I live in Iowa. And being able to see you throughout the state, yeah, it's awesome. And I'm glad we can connect with you and have you on the show, because you have a lot of good things to say. That being said, where can people find you? I know things are kind of slowing down a little bit, but where are you going to be in the coming weeks?
So obviously we talked about IMF. So that'll be popping. So the 18th, I believe, like I said, IMF, and the 25th, I'm kind of a toss up. I've got a couple different people wanting to run. I'm really eyeballing Social X, dude. Like, I really want to get on. I want to get on. They're doing some cool crap. They were up at a casino the other day, I believe, right? Am I wrong? That's cool, you know? So I definitely am. I'm eyeballing that for the 25th, but Pekin's also hitting me up for the 25th. And then I got another promotion kind of down the street from Pekin that's hit me up for the 25th. So I'm in a pickle, you know? But from there on out, it's basically just IMF month in and month out, man. And just running that and just doing the best I can. And then obviously CEW will be back in the earlier parts of next year. We do not have any dates yet. But I believe, if I had to guess, and I'm predicting and I'm only guessing, it's going to happen really early at the beginning of the year, probably January, February, maybe March. So we're in that area right there, that 3-month quarter, you know, right there. So.
And stay tuned. You can follow them on social media. They'll have posts as to when they're coming back for sure. Where can we find you if we want to see you on social media, if we want to see some of your matches?
I believe at the Damien or D Saint _363 is Instagram. Just Damien Saint on the Facebook page. I do not have a Twitter or X. Excuse me for not having that as a wrestler, but I do not have it because it is disgusting. And the TikTok, I believe, is just at Damien Saint. So follow me on those. And then you have the YouTube page for Central Empire if you want to see past matches from Bridge City Slams. This past year's Bridge City Slam match, we had the Mall Madness shows on there. A little bit bitter, but the Mall Madness shows on there. Some other past stuff's on there as well. But, you know, at the end of the day, this is going to sound crazy because I don't think a lot of wrestlers say this. But if there's something you need, something you want to ask, hit up the Damien page and just send a message. I might not respond right away, but send me a message, man. Let's just chat it out if you want to. I'll throw you a message here and there, you know, and just talk wrestling, talk about life, whatever you guys want to, you know, speak on. I'm a firm believer that if you give, you get back. So here I am giving myself out a little bit so that I can, interact with these guys a little bit more with, wrestling being a little bit slower. Like if it's only once a month, it's once a month, man. But if we got twice a month, 3 times a month, it's just not manageable right this minute. So we're really rolling once a month with IMF right now up until that early stage of, the year.
Love it. And them being within an hour and a half of me here in the Quad Cities, of us here in the Quad Cities, I'm going to try and get up to another show or two if I can, depending on the weekend.
I want to also announce, if you don't mind, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to announce that IMF just made an announcement that they're making a venue change in Cedar Rapids. It's the old Westdale Bowling Center, I believe, is what I was told, or West Side Lanes, or whatever they used to call it. But it is a new venue. It is going to be in Cedar Rapids, in the heart. So if you're not already at IMF shows and you're watching this, you're in the Cedar Rapids area, get to the show there. It is a fantastic venue. It is huge. They're going to do concessions there, I believe. No BYOB anymore, of course, because it is a venue that actually charges. So we can't just bring our own beer in, unfortunately. Sorry, guys. But, come to the show, new venue. It's going to be magnificent. I am so excited for the future of IMF as well, because this is a big thing for us. Being outside in Palo about 15 miles is just too much. And I just think that it's time to maybe, expand that horizon a little bit. So anyway, getting back to the point, sorry, but I wanted to express that.
Oh, I love it. And that's gonna pretty much put a close on this episode of Card Subject to Change. Before we do, we have some announcements and previews to make. Nick, I'm super excited. Our newest show in the Card Subject to Change family is having its second episode this Tuesday night. We'll be here at about 7:30. Wrestling rewatchables, wrestlebacks, must-see matches that we think that we love to watch. Go back, and I'm excited. We're actually highlighting 2 matches this time, Nick. The rivalry between JBL and Eddie Guerrero between Judgment Day and Great American Bash 2004.
Yeah, watched these matches here recently. Going to watch them again one more time before the show. And I'll tell you what, like, it is hard to believe these were 21 years ago. Like, these still stand up. Like, to me, this just feels like looking at a match like 10 years ago. It's just hard to believe it's 21 years ago. But, yeah, JBL, Eddie Guerrero, not for the faint of heart watching these matches if you don't like blood, because there's a lot of it. But, man, 2 really good matches from two of the best of that time.
Amen. And next Sunday we'll be back at our normal time as always. Sunday at 6:30, we'll be talking about Crown Jewel from Perth. I'm excited for that show because we get to see AJ Styles going against John Cena one last time, Nick.
Yeah. Are you excited about that 7:30 start?
No, that's a little bit too early, but I'm sure I'll be up. I mean,
man, it's Saturday morning too. It's like, man, couldn't it be like 10 a.m.?
Yeah, come on, guys.
But I'll still be watching.
Oh,
yeah.
Speaking of John Cena, Damien, I'll ask you one last question before we wrap up. Perfect booking for you. Who's his final opponent?
Man, did Edge re-sign with AEW?
I'm not sure.
I read somewhere where like WWE and AEW make a deal where Edge comes back to wrestle Cena for his retirement, and then AEW gets control of the Edge name. I think it's a fair trade.
I would agree, and I think that's what it's going to be. I am predicting that it's going to be Edge versus John Cena in his last match on Saturday Night Main Event. That is who it is going to be. You're going to hear that you think you know me. And people are going to go insane for it. They're not even going to build up to it. They don't even know who it is up until the show. And it's him.
Oh, I love that. And it's very fitting because we talked on the last time you were here last year about your love for their rivalry. That'd be very fitting. And I'd love to see that be the way.
I hope it is. I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, because I think you see a lot of stuff online about people, how upset they are about the bookings lately. And it's like, yeah, like I can see why, I don't think Brock definitely should have just squashed. I think that's pretty wild. But it is what it is. It's business, right? But seeing one of my favorites against one of my other favorites, like, dude, I would eat that up. I would eat it up.
I hope that's what happens. We're going to will it into existence, between the three of us.
Yes, we are. We're going to use our
Yes,
powers and our positive mindset here to do that.
Can you give me wizard power so I can
There
make
you
that
go.
happen?
There you go. Done.
Boom. All right, cool. I'm giving him a call tomorrow.
Yes. Well, Damien, thank you so much. We love having you on the show. Always welcome back anytime you want to chat wrestling, and looking forward to what the next year brings. And hopefully, not hopefully, you've got the briefcase. You're going to be holding that CEW championship before long. If I were a betting man.
I would have brought the briefcase, but I'm making modifications. So
That's okay.
I think when you come back to CEW, we'll see that it's a personalized briefcase, and I think it'll be exciting.
I love it. Well, that is going to put a bow on this edition of Card Subject to Change, the podcast by the fan for the fan. Of course, we are powered by Lopez Pizza and built by Durham Remodeling. For my tag team partner, Mr. Never Wrong, Nick Bull, I am the Wizard CZ. We'll see you Tuesday for Wrestlebacks number 2, and back here for Card Subject to Change next Sunday.
This has been a For Frequency's Sake Podcast Network production. For more great content, subscribe to For Frequency's Sake on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter.